Country Lather Soap Works with the hot process Southern Belle Jesse Whittington. Now, get ready to wash the stink off.
Good morning, everybody. To me, nothing says fall like a caramel apple sucker, or a caramel apple, period. But I absolutely love those caramel apple suckers. They are nostalgic to me. They remind me of, when I was a kid. So today's soap is called Caramel Apple Delight, and it is fragranced with Candle Science's brandied pear, which to me doesn't so much smell like a drunk pear, but it smells more like a caramel apple sucker. So that's what we're doing today, and it's going to be high temperature, hot process soap. So let's just kick back and see if this will be a hot mess soap. We're going to get this soap started by pouring our super duper hot oils into our 50 quart stock pot. And look, I'm not kidding, these dudes are hot. They're sitting over 200 degrees. Fresh lye solution going in, it's sitting at about 225 degrees. When you get these two stick blended together, it kickstarts the saponification process and it goes to cooking the soap. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to stick blend it all together, and once it gets to trace, we're going to put a lid on it, and we'll explain the rest of the process here in just a minute. Oh, and I would like to make mention that this pot sitting right here is not sitting on a heat source at all. It's sitting on a step stool that's covered with a towel. What happens is you heat your oils pretty dang hot, around 200 degrees, and you pour in your fresh lye solution, which typically for me sits at about 225 degrees, and it kickstarts a chemical reaction called saponification, and it continues to cook. Just the reaction between the oils, the hot oils and the hot lye, it cooks, and it's cool. It's just, chemistry is a cool thing. I wished I'd taken chemistry in high school. I didn't. That's okay. I'm learning about it as I go. So we got it all stick blended together. It's sitting at a light trace. It's not even a light medium trace. It's just really a light trace. So we're gonna get it covered up to insulate the heat and the batter, and we're just gonna kick back and wait for it to erupt. Of course, this whole process is sped up. This took around about 10 minutes, and I just kept checking it because nobody wants soap batter going over the side of the pot. Been there, done that. It's not fun. So anyhow, you can see right here, it's slowly rising up. Basically, it's coming to a boil is what's going on right here. And so you can see, yeah, you can see it. It's kind of hard. It was really neat to watch while the soap was actively being made, because the top of it just kind of slid off to the side, and what was underneath the top layer of soap just kind of boiled up over it. You can see it slide off right there. Ain't that cool? So you can see right there, the soap batter is boiling. I mean, it's when I take a temperature of it right there, it's sitting at about 220 something degrees. It's hot, it's boiling, it is cooking, y'all. And old saying, cooking with grease, well, there's grease in there. So yeah, and we cooking with grease. Now here I've got a better angle where you can see down in the pot a little better. You can see parts of the soap on top are already starting to go through gel. So what we're doing here, it was sitting at a simmer. I just kind of stirred it together, and we're just kind of letting it do its thing. We're going to get the stick blender in here from time to time and stick blend everything back together. The stick blender moving everything together real fast, it kind of forces it to boil again. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know the exact science behind it. I just know it happens. So there's a thing, Okay, you can see right here we've got our stick blender in there, getting it all stirred back together, and boom, it's going to erupt again. Now, you typically don't ever end up with as big an eruption as you do when it first erupts. It'll, bubble up and it'll really just kind of simmer, And right there I'm showing that this was a live soap making I did on TikTok, so I was just kind of showing people some soap that I'd made that was on the website. So, and just saying, if you're watching this and it's September, October of 2022, that soap is on my website right now. It's called Black Flame Candle. It is themed after an iconic witches movie from the 90s. I'm not going to say which one. Abbreviations are HP. So anyhow, we are getting it going. We stick blended it again, and boom, there's another eruption. Now, what I've noticed over the past few years, me making high temperature hot processed soap, is as you stick blend, each eruption gets a little less volatile, if that makes sense. Because there's a little less lye in the soap, and there's a little less reaction left in the soap with each eruption. So there's another little thing. And whether it's cold processed soap, whether it's hot processed soap, there is no exact science to soap. When you say it'll react the same way every time, you are full of bull, because soap will make a liar out of you. I've said it time and time again, soap will make a liar out of you. I have made high temperature hot processed soap where it has reacted twice and it was soap. I have made high temperature hot processed soap to where it's reacted 6 to 7 times before it has become soap. So this particular time, I don't remember how many times it reacted or erupted before it turned into soap, but there were several times I had to stick blend it and make it react. So you can see right here it's still sitting at a simmer, it's doing what it does, and I'll stick blend it, it'll erupt, and I'll let it do its thing for a little while. Of course, this is sped up, so you can't really see how long it takes. Completely lost my train of thought. But you can't really gauge how much time is between reactions, is what I was trying to say. Right there, we're putting our shea butter in. I like to super fat my hot processed soap with shea butter and goat's milk. So we've got the shea butter stirred in. We're going to scrape down the sides of our pot to make sure we get everything combined and combined well. Just gonna say this, if you haven't noticed, a common theme with high temperature hot processed soap is stir, stir, stir. And when you make this much high temperature hot processed soap at a time, you just about got to have one of these crawfish paddles to stir it. So alright, we're putting in our frozen goat's milk right now, and it was froze slap solid, so it's going to take it a little bit to melt. This this method of putting in your goat's milk, I think it works really well for high temperature hot processed soap, because your soap batter is so hot. You don't want your milk to scorch, which it's really not a humongous deal if your milk scorches. It's really not. It's not the end of the world. Your soap will turn a little darker, but it will actually lighten back up as it sits. So we're just hanging out. We're letting the goat milk thaw out. And then we stir it from time to time. So like I said, the common theme with high temperature hot processed soap is stir, stir, stir. So if you want an arm workout, make you some of this soap, because, buddy, you'll get it, because you're going to be doing a lot of stirring. And you can see, like right here, I'm taking the goat's milk, the chunk of goat's milk, and every now and then I'll take it and I'll chop it up with that crawfish paddle. I just like to chop it into smaller pieces to make it melt a little easier. And that was a little bit of leftover chilled goat's milk I had left over from a soap making from the previous day when I made some cold processed soap. So I just went ahead and poured that in there after I'd, cooled the soap batter off a little bit with that frozen goat milk. So we're going to get it all stirred up, and here in just a little bit we're going to be adding some color to it. Alright, right here I'm adding some Greek yogurt. I didn't have quite as much Greek yogurt as I typically like to use in my high temperature hot processed soap, but we had enough. We made it work. What the Greek yogurt does is it makes the batter more pliable and more fluid. So it really, I think it helps the soap to lather better. And that's just, my opinion. Somebody, if you're really super duper knowledgeable as far as the exact chemistry of all that, let me know in the comment section, why that is. I don't know. I just know I can't tell you the science of a lot of things, but I can tell you a lot of things that will work and some things that won't work, and a lot more things that won't work, as a matter of fact. So, but we got the Greek yogurt in the batter, and we're going to get it stirred in, and you can see as I'm stirring, it gets more and more pliable. And it just makes things it makes it a lot easier to work with. Okay, what's going on here is I'm scooping out some of the soap batter, around about half of it, into another bucket. I've got some buckets over here that are food grade, and they can handle temperatures up to like almost 400 degrees. So I'm scooping out about half of the soap batter into another bucket, and we're going to get to coloring this soap. So there you go. And that looks round about where it needs to be as far as half the batter. And you can see right here I'm pouring in some avocado oil mixed with some evergreen mica from Crafter's Choice that I have added some, I'm thinking it's lemon parade yellow or lemon yellow or something or other from Mad Micas. I can't remember the exact shade of it, but it is a yellow mica from Mad Micas. And it still looks real dark right there, but as you get it mixed into the soap, it really takes on the color, the actual green shade of the caramel apple suckers that you can get from the store. So, and as it sets, it'll actually lighten up a little bit more, and it turned out to be the absolute perfect shade of green. So we're just mixing it around, trying to get the mica and the oil combined well with the soap batter, and then we're gonna do the next batter. So stay tuned. Alright, you can see right here I've got my bucket set back up on my step stool, and yes, it is off center. There we go. We got it straightened back up. So here we're just kind of making like a well in the middle of the bucket, or the middle of the soap batter, And we're going to pour our avocado oil that's mixed with a gold mica I got from Marbler's Micas. I use a couple of different suppliers for micas. This one I get off of Amazon, and it's Marbler's Micas. And I think they work great for soap. They're not quite as expensive as some of the other mica distributors, and like I said, I like them. I think they work well. But this particular color, the gold color, it's spot on for the caramel look. And you can see right there. It looks like caramel. It looks like I'm mixing caramel in a bucket. So it's just the perfect shade. Worked out. Don't you love it when a plan works out? And this worked out, and it worked out perfect. So we're just going to get that mixed in, and then next we're going to mix in our fragrance oil. Alright, we've got all of our colors mixed in and mixed in and mixed in some more. And now we're going to add our fragrance oil. Like I said, this is the brandied pear fragrance oil from Candle Science. Highly recommend. Got a really low flash point on it now. The flash point on this is about 165, so I was really having to try to get this stuff cooled off substantially before I added my fragrance oil in. But, we got it added into that batter, and we got it mixed in, and now we're going to mix it into our caramel batter. So, y'all, I can't stress enough how awesome the colors turned out for this soap. I couldn't have planned it no better. So, anyhow, now that I'm done tooting my own horn, we're going to get back to mixing some soap. Now, we're just going to kind of mix it in with our other batter. We're just moving some batter aside and just adding it in different places in the big stock pot where we're gonna pour from in the mold. Anyhow, squirrel. So we're gonna get it all into this pot, into this one vessel, and then we're just gonna kind of stir it around just a little bit. You don't really want to stir it too much because you'll combine it, and nobody wants that. You want the color difference there. When you make high temperature hot process soap, to me, I love the marbled look of it. And when you over stir it, that kind of messes that look up. And I'm not going to say what that looks like, but I'm just going to let you use your imagination on that. And now that we've got the camera off center again, because, I struggle. And, this was on a TikTok live. I'm talking to people. I'm trying to make soap. And right here, I've actually cut my finger pretty severely. Well, not super severely, but, it's not fun to work with your right hand when you've closed your pocket knife on it. So anyhow, got a lot of things going on. Yes, the shot's off center. Y'all can beat me with a wet noodle later. Anyhow, we're getting the soap into the molds, and I'm just going to stop and take a minute and brag on these molds. I do not get paid to talk about these molds, but I'm going to talk about them because if it works, you need to brag on a company. These molds are made by my friend July with winstonandwalter.ca. She makes these molds by hand in her workshop. And y'all, these molds are thebomb.com. These things are awesome. I've been using her molds for over a year now. And there are several soapers that will tell you her molds are awesome. They're the best molds I've ever used, and they're just fantastic. Silicone liners are just super duper high quality. They're good and thick. You know, they don't flop down like a lot of the other soap molds do with the silicone liners. So anyhow, squirrel. I'm tapping the soap batter down to try to get rid of any air bubbles. There's always a few air bubbles, especially with hot process soap. It's unavoidable. So now I've got another one of the Winston & Walter molds, and we're going to get it filled up. I actually ended up filling up my 24-pound mold. I filled up the 7.5-pound mold, and I filled up one of her small tester molds with soap. So ended up with a lot of soap. I actually ran out of molds. But, which means I need to buy some more. But, you know, I need you folks to buy some soap so I can buy some more molds to feed my mold addiction. So, anyhow, y'all, I'm just playing. But seriously, go buy some soap. Anyhow, squirrel. This is the next day, hence the different shirt color, and I don't have my ball cap on. We actually cut almost 70 pounds of soap this day. But, in this video, you're only going to see the caramel apple soap. So, and I'm going to brag one more time on these molds. Y'all, hot process soap basically falls out of these molds. It is awesome. There's little to no cleanup left after you unmold the soap. It's fantastic. So, and look, there's that small mold I was telling you about that I filled up as well. You're not going to see the long loaf mold on this particular clip because it glitched and I had to cut it out of this particular video. So, but you know, you'll see the soap cutting. You just won't see me unmold that particular loaf because for some reason it glitched, and y'all, technology hates me. But I'm rambling, so squirrel. Well, maybe I lied to y'all a little bit. I thought that was the clip I had to cut out, but I was wrong. So anyhow, I'm going to unmold the 7-pound batch of soap. So, you know, like I said, soap make a liar out of you. Technology also make a liar out of you. But I honestly thought this was the clip that I had to cut out, but I was wrong. I apologize. So we're going to unmold this, and y'all, the colors turned out so perfect on this soap. I know y'all heard me say that time and time again, but they really did. They turned out great. And the reason why I'm just staring at y'all right now is, like I said, I make soap live on TikTok. I cut soap live on TikTok. If you haven't subscribed to my TikTok, I would highly appreciate it if you did. You can look me up at Country Lather 2020. And no, I haven't gone crazy right here. My sister-in-law would come in and I was talking to her, so that's why I was looking over my shoulder and talking. But anyhow, now we are going to get some soap cut down into loaves of soap. And I cannot wait for you to see this. It turned out so awesome. Y'all, I'm just so pleased with how this soap turned out. Y'all check it out. We're going to peel it off and we're going to talk to people that aren't there. Anyhow. Check it out. Does that not look like the perfect colors for the caramel apple suckers? I mean, they turned out great. So now we're going to kick it into high gear and we're going to get it all cut. And now there's not really a whole lot to say here other than we're going to cut this slab of soap into some loaves of soap. And then we're going to cut the loaves of soap into bars of soap. Y'all check out that soap. It looks so pretty. The colors turned out absolutely perfect. I couldn't be more pleased. I'm ecstatic with how good this soap turned out. So anyhow, I'm just going to show you a few more bars of this soap, and we're going to go through and get it all cut. So we'll be back with you here in just a little bit. Oh, and here's like a little blooper. I I broke a wire. I broke a wire a couple of weeks ago on my cutter, and I ended up having to put a smaller gauge wire in its place, and I knew it wasn't going to last, but I was going to ride it just for as long as it could. And it broke cutting this batch of soap, so I had to stop and fix that wire. So we're fixing to kick it into high gear and zoom through it, so you don't have to sit there through the whole process. But yeah, I got to stop and change the wire. So if you've made it this far, we'd appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button, smash that like, and leave us a comment if you got a question, or let us know where you're from. We love to hear from you. So now, back to cutting soap. Now, if you'll notice here, I swapped cutters. I swapped to my single bar cutter. The reason being, some of my soaps were shorter than they needed to be. So to keep from wasting soap and to make sure the customer gets, the amount of product they purchase, when I have a short bar or a short loaf of soap, I'll cut the bar of soap extra thick, like inch and three. I think these are 1 3/8 thick instead of just 1 inch thick. So we end up with some regular sized bars, and we pull this puppy out, we end up with some chunky bars. But you know what? Chunky bars get used just like regular bars. They all will wash the stink off.